Welcome back to another episode of Half a Clue TV Review. This week we're talking about Dexter Season Dos. Season 2.
You know what? You could have rhymed there, you know.
Well, I didn't, so...
Well,
yeah. Half a Clue TV Review, Season 2.
Is there going to be a manhunt after me?
Episode 2, Season 2.
You really butchered that sentence.
I really Bay Harbor butchered
Oh, you mean
that sentence.
a manhunt? There's going to be a manhunt, like something that never happens in Dexter? Wow. That would be a first. You know what I mean?
I guess we're going down in flames.
Dude, okay, once we get to Season 4, it was like... Oh, what's it called? Oh my gosh! I was like texting you about like the best part of the episode where like he popped up.
Oh,
Johnny.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He has like substantial like a full scene. I was like, whoa.
Yeah. This actor we worked with in the past is actually in the show and not this season, but he comes up later.
Yeah. We'll talk about that when Season 4 comes out. Blake, take us away.
Well, I guess we'll be talking about Dexter Season 2, which is probably, I think most people regard as one of the best seasons of Dexter. The plot to Season 2 is that after the events of Season 1, Dexter's feeling a little off his balance. But while that's happening and his personal life is kind of spinning out of control, all of his bodies are kind of coming to surface, so an unhinged Dexter has to start making moves and making them fast. What did you guys think of Season 2?
It was all right.
Much better.
Yeah, I think it really it started off with a lot of the stuff that we learned from Season 1 and really expanded on them in really interesting ways. I think it improved and made up for a lot of the faults of Season 1.
Yeah, I like the fact that there wasn't like a hard villain this season.
Yes.
It almost feels like near the end of the season, Dexter becomes the villain.
Yeah.
And I like the contrast between the first season where it's all about Dexter being in control, and this season he's just like losing it. You know?
Yeah, Season 1's order, this season's chaos.
Yeah.
Which I like, especially in like the last 4 episodes. Like, I like that thing where as Dexter's walking through, what is he? He's like, he's looking around at all this destruction. It's like there's like the wanted Doakes poster, like his sister looks upset, even Lundy's getting yelled at, and he's like, even Lundy's getting caught up in Hurricane Dexter.
Yeah.
I like all these moments where Dexter's just like, fuck.
I like seeing all of his like his protections, everything that he's like built up over the years to help keep this lifestyle like existing is just falling apart and just crumbling. We've never really seen him like this scared or on edge or this close to failure.
Yeah, he almost has like a mental breakdown like multiple times.
Yeah.
This is like the only season of the show where it like even barely touches the toenail of an HBO show. Where I was like,
Oh
wow,
my God.
you guys almost there. You guys did it. You guys, the only season.
This is a great season of television, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mostly. Yeah, mostly. I mean, definitely is
I mean,
overall.
it
There's
did have
some
its
dumb
issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then also the cinematography is still. I'm. It's fine. Whatever. We'll
I like
get
how
into the-
Dexter. I like the visuals of Dexter. It's not like insane, but there's a lot of moments of the show where I'm like, that looks pretty.
I think it
Yeah,
improved
there's
a
a
lot.
couple of
The
really
Dark
good
Defender.
shots this
Yeah.
season.
They don't have as much artifacting and the color grading problems they had in the first season, which is
Yeah.
good. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm pretty sure they didn't like go back to the future, heard the podcast, and went back. You know what I mean? What's it called? But yeah, no, I think like one of the reasons why I like the show is like one the hallmarks of a good television show, or at least one that's riveting, is where your character's at this low point constantly. He's constantly stressed, and he has conflicts going on at all centers: his family, personal life, his external drama, his internal drama. So
Yeah.
those are probably my favorite television shows. Like in Sopranos, they did that with like Tony Soprano, where he's like, you know, the mob's coming in, the FBI's coming in, his wife is like about to divorce him, and it's just like all in one chaos. Those are probably my favorite types of seasons for a TV show. So,
You like to
reason-
see
them struggle.
everything just like fall apart around a character.
The
It's fun.
reason why that works well, though, is because that way you can have an A story and a B story that both involve the main character, and they work well in conjunction with each other because it's both struggling.
The central story is.
I was gonna say that one thing about this season in particular that's really good is I fucking hate people that say shit like this. The script economy. I fucking hate that phrase. But I'm going to talk about the script economy. I think in this season specifically, the B plots aren't bad, and in fact, there doesn't even really feel like there is B plots. There's no like Angel getting 2 double meets. There's no
Yeah.
there's no like in future seasons they get bad. There's no like really bad disorienting B plots that feel like they're taking away, because you have like the central story of like Dexter trying to get his life in order, and then on top of that you get like Lila, and you get all these other little elements, but they all kind of add up into the same storyline.
I will say,
I disagree.
I will say,
LaGuerta's storyline.
I do not give a shit about Deb's love life. I don't care
Oh,
at
it's
all.
much worse from here.
Like, it's the only subplots she ever gets is like who she's dating and how she's fucking it up, and I'm like, I don't care, dude.
Wait till you see season 3. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, season 3 has a bad
But
Deb
no,
love line.
straight
plot.
up though, I think that actually Deb's love life stories in this
the
season
better one.
actually worked.
Yeah, I really
because,
like this one.
They actually helped to develop the story of the conflict between her and Dexter and how they saw Harry, because this was kind of a Harry-centric season right here, looking at like who actually was Harry Morgan and why did he do the things he did, and was he right or was he wrong to do what he did?
Right, because after
was
season 1,
wrong.
the code of
He's a
Harry was
bad
very
dad.
shaken. Yeah, he was. He was a terrible dad. But I mean, at the same time, he produced a pretty good superhero. So
Yeah.
I mean, like pros and cons.
I
Just
mean,
think about the
if
greater
you
good.
think he's a superhero, is he the Dark Defender?
Yeah,
or is
pretty
he
much.
just a serial
That was a
killer?
great episode.
that
Yes.
was a great
Yeah.
episode.
I like when he's having the flashback of him like in the cargo container dressed as the Dark Defender. I was telling Jason, it's simultaneously funny and sad,
Yeah.
which is interesting. But yeah, I don't know. I just thought that the B plots were like in order this season. There wasn't. I was even okay with LaGuerta's thing. I mean, it's a little like but it's in terms of knowing where the fuck this series goes. Like by the time you get
It's
to like
not the worst B plot, but it's still a bad B plot.
Can we talk about the lieutenant who took LaGuerta's place at the end of last season, and she was there for about
4 episodes, I
3
think?
episodes?
Yeah.
No payoff whatsoever. She just kind of
A smell.
like,
A smell.
yeah, my husband's cheating on me. Smell this shirt, and then like she has a breakdown and leaves.
Like a terribly written female character.
Well,
Yeah.
I think so.
yeah.
Absolutely
Absolutely.
terrible.
I think that it was just at the end of last season, or at the end of the first season, they had ridden her in. They didn't know what they were going to do with her yet, and then they get to season
Oh boy,
2,
get
and
used
they're
to
like,
that.
"We don't know what we're going to do with her," so they have to find a way to write her out quickly.
And that was a really
kill
bad
her.
way to write her.
Just kill her.
Really
It
Honestly.
would have been okay, honestly, if she got killed.
They do that.
Yeah.
They do that later on. They build an entire character in one season, and he gets shot in like the first episode of the next season.
It's like, that LaGuardia storyline, I was like rolling my eyes. Because like, I remember it. And then once I immediately saw the scene where she got her going crazy about the smell and her fiance, I was rolling my eyes. Like,
It's like, yikes, this is really where they're taking this. Okay.
It's like they're going back to their Showtime After Dark. You know what I mean? The skin flicks. Like,
Yeah.
it's like,
And
okay.
it really undermined
Skinemax.
even LaGuerta's moment where she's like, I'm not gonna let you undermine this lady because of like, rumors or whatever. And it's like, yeah, but also she really is wasting company time. She really is kind of obsessing over
It
her
gets kind of
personal life.
fun.
There's a lot of that with LaGuerta this season. Like when near the end where she gets a call from Doakes
Yeah.
and she's just like, "No, I'm not reporting it." Blah blah blah. And I'm just like, "Bro,
Yeah.
like you're a cop."
To be fair, I get her
like she would be
motive.
fired and probably arrested if she
Yeah.
did that.
That really stretched the
Yeah.
realm of believability.
Oh, there's the other big instance of that when they bring in Dexter for testing the slides.
Oh, yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, I'm pretty sure that's just terrible police procedure. This guy has a personal stake. He has very public personal issues with Doakes. You're gonna put this guy in charge of your forensics team? Doesn't that completely?
Once
Exactly.
Like,
once they found
yeah.
out that he was a part of the Metro PD or whatever, FBI should have taken complete control.
Yeah.
and no one should have been working that case.
Yeah,
from that
exactly.
department.
Especially like, and it's weird because in season 4, not to give too much away, but that exact logical flaw like gets fixed in season 4 where FBI just completely takes over the case.
Okay.
After, and then let's say the Bay Harbor Butcher case is much bigger than the case that happened in season 4. Like in terms of like
Is
the amount
it,
of
though?
victims. In terms of the amount of victims, yes.
No,
The amount, yes.
I think that they say he's like in season 4 without spoilers. The villain of season 4 is quote unquote the most successful serial killer like
And,
of
like, not
American
getting caught.
history.
Well, yeah, that's because they say that because they think Doakes was the Bay Harbor Butcher. So he was not successful and died.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
Yeah. In their eyes, he accidentally killed himself in a
Yeah,
fire.
he's like, what a dumbass.
oh, really quick.
Bitch.
Well, I think. I don't know. I kind of assume that it was Masuka's theory that kind of stands true, right? Where he's like, he probably killed himself. He just figured out what was happening and then killed himself, and that's how people will probably
okay.
think.
They talk about it
what
later.
happens,
We'll
yeah.
see what they say. It's been a while since I've done a full series rewatch, but I mean, obviously, Doakes has talked about more.
Yeah, that's
really,
the biggest loss.
I have a
honestly.
really weird
Oh, yeah.
criticism to give. In terms of things that really bother me, this might be weird. I don't know why I can accept, oh yeah, the FBI can let them have the case, but not accept this, but this has bothered me for like a decade. Dexter kills someone that he buys a car from, which leaves kind of a paper trail. I don't know why, that really bothers me, and it always has.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Well, remember, the guy also
wait.
wasn't who he was saying he was.
Right.
And nobody really cared about him. He was a fucking shyster of a car
Still,
salesman.
that feels like something Dexter wouldn't do in character.
Yeah, well, he does a lot of things this season that he
Okay, but
wouldn't.
all
Like
the other
never wearing a
things-
mask.
All the other things he does, though, are like in service of like, holy shit, I gotta act now. This is just like, just a random kill. I don't think he would have done it that way.
I do really like that about the season. I know we've already mentioned that, but it just feels like there's just a fire under Dexter the entire season.
Oh.
It's just like he's just always has like 5 balls up in the air, and he's like trying to deal with one thing, and then another thing's falling apart behind him. He's
I really like that
Fuck,
line.
that body's still sitting out in the swamp.
Yeah.
I
Get
really,
rid of.
I really like that line of dialogue in like the mid of the season when he's trying to like get the security cameras off, and he's like, all right, so I have to like destroy the evidence of the security cameras. I have to do this. I have to make up with Rita, and I might as well try to solve world hunger because things really can't get that much worse.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's always like 5 things Dexter has to get done, and there's always something kind of preventing him from getting them done, which is
Yeah.
So
fun.
one thing that did piss me off about this season is actually the whole Lila storyline. I didn't believe it because, if you look at Dexter in season 1 and the way that he was developed, he has an aversion to having sex or connecting with people on that level, right? And this whole entire season, he's just fucking doe-eyed and like enchanted by this psychopath named
Well,
Lila.
I
think-
got that because they were
Yeah.
having similar energy in terms of like attraction and similar values.
And
But
also, he was
he's
in a
not-
spot.
He's not driven by sex though.
I don't think he
No,
was.
he
He
wasn't.
wasn't.
He was driven by the fact that she understood
that she didn't
the Bay
look-
Harbor Butcher,
Right.
and like he felt a connection to her. And also at the end of season 1, going into the beginning of season 2, he was probably the most vulnerable he's ever been.
Right.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that like he'd be able to
Connect
be
with Lila.
manipulated
Yeah.
in that way.
And
to
also,
me,
and also like Rita specifically.
she's a
has
bitch, though.
moment. Yeah. Oh, she's. But then when Rita and Gail, the mom, when they have a dinner and stuff, and they're discussing the Bay Harbor Butcher, Rita publicly announces her disapproval of the Bay Harbor Butcher and his killings, while the mom didn't. So that already kind of put a distance, like emotional distance between Rita and Dexter, while Lila was accepting. So he was looking like, because he was basically looking for a somewhat emotional replacement for the eye struck killer, Brian Moser, who did not avert his eyes of Dexter's true inner darkness, right? His dark passenger.
Yeah.
So
He'd
when Lila
already
was there-
felt like he was alone in this world after killing Brian. He's like, no one's ever going to understand or possibly accept this.
Yeah, can
And
we talk
she does,
about-
like, wholeheartedly.
Can we talk about how I really like how season 1 transitions into season 2? Like, I really like that Dexter's like still mourning the eye struck killer at the beginning of the season. I like that it's kind of like you called it the Spider-Man 2 effect. It is really similar where it's like he's quote unquote lost his powers.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I really do like that. The way season 2 just starts and Dexter's like, he's literally knows like the days, the minutes, and the hours it's been since he's killed the eye struck killer. Doakes is like tailing him. He's like, I haven't been able to kill, and even when I get the chance, I can't do it. I really like how it does bleed into it. Like it makes it a really good like sequel season, if that's what you'd call it.
Definitely. Yeah.
It works really well. And then like of course also the stuff with Paul really transitions and heavily influences the plot of this season. I just really like the starting point of season 2. I thought it was a really good way to kick off the season. Like just Dexter's already in disarray, and at the end of the first episode he sees a mountain he's about to climb, and he's just like, okay, I have to get better now, as like they're pulling up the bodies from like the ocean.
Yeah.
Even with the little side plot with little Chino.
I like the side
Yeah,
plot with
those-
Little Chino.
Yeah,
That was
definitely.
good. Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it went on for too long. It should have been an episode, not two.
Was it? Yeah, it was like
2
2
episodes.
right?
Yeah. But yeah, little Chino's funny. He's the big guy.
Big giant.
Yeah.
I like
can
I
that.
take
mean,
a fight.
when you get Danny Trejo to
It's not
come-
Danny Trejo.
It's not?
No.
I thought
Oh
it
my
was.
god.
Are you serious?
I thought it was.
Are you serious? Oh.
He doesn't look remotely like Danny Trejo.
Danny Trejo is also like kind of really short.
Yeah,
Danny
he's like
Trejo is not that big.
he's like 5'5", dude.
Is he really?
Whatever.
He's very
Yeah,
small.
he's
Yeah.
small.
I could take a little Chino in a fight for sure.
Yeah.
If it really came down to it, we'd see who'd come out on top. I like the whole little Chino thing.
Well, I mean, that was development on two ends, though. It was both development for Dexter and for Deb, because they were trying to focus on Deb kind of getting back into the game and proving herself as a
and
cop.
not proving herself.
Yeah,
Well,
she
yeah.
doesn't. She should not have been working.
You know, there's like a moment in episode 3, I think it is, when Deb and Rita go like out to a bar or whatever, and he's just like, get her out of the house and let's hang out, right, and stuff. And I always there's like a certain moment where Rita's talking about I think Paul or something, and then Deb is comforting her, and I always felt like their dialogue is a bit like kind of reversed, where Deb is like, oh, it's because you saw him as something else, or like she's basically comforting her while like also having kind of an epiphany herself. And I kind of see what they're going for, but I always felt like Rita should have been the person who's already been there. She's gone through it. She's processed it. We see her grow as a character and have like how she's basically able to overcome her issues with Paul. Like she's actually now a way more confident woman, and that's awesome. And I always felt like she should have been the one that giving that advice to Deb and have Deb have that moment of realization.
I have a rebuttal.
Okay.
Well, I think it's 2 things. It's one, Paul just died, which I think is why Rita's feeling like, oh fuck. And then 2, I think it's supposed to be, it's very in character for Deborah to be comforting people when she's not, in the right mind herself. She like Dexter says in season 1, episode 1, she has a big heart, but she'll never let the world see it. Like, it's very in character for her to be like, no, I'm fine. Like, nothing's wrong with me.
Yeah. But I don't know. I still feel like Rita should have been the one just to be like, to offer some perspective, because she knows, right? Like, I mean, not as intense, but like she would understand her situation.
Yeah, and Rita never really like even comes to terms with the fact that she stayed a weekend with the ice truck killer as well.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that would be something that should have been brought up,
Right.
Yeah.
She was this close to a serial killer.
So
Yeah.
she should have felt like closer to it than she seemed, I guess.
You know, that is one thing with all the stuff with Deb dealing with, oh yeah, my ex-boyfriend was the ice truck killer. Literally, that's the only time that he gets brought up, is her saying that sentence like 5 or 6 times.
Well, that's
Other
not
than that,
true.
No, can you tell me any other time when they actually talk about the ice truck killer or anything involving the case?
Well, I mean, like, the season starts with Dexter mourning him, and they even bring up in the FBI debriefings, a lot of people are like, whatever, bureaucracy, people are just like, we don't want to work. Oh, those bodies are probably the ice truck killers, and Lundy's like, so, I mean, they talk about him.
But I don't know.
The ice truck killer's,
I
like,
guess-
consistently talked about throughout the entire series.
Yeah, but he gets talked about in passing. I think personally they really dropped the whole ice truck killer thing, because there's a lot of unanswered questions there. And it's like, you got Doakes trying to investigate what did Dexter know, but his investigation's not like active. He's not getting other people involved in like, hey, we got to figure out what Dexter knows.
Yeah, but
Which
Doakes
would've-
is... that
Because
makes
no one
sense.
believes Doakes.
Yeah, I'm
Dexter,
fine with that.
And that's one of the things of the season 2 is Dexter, like, kind of goes out of his way to make Doakes look like a crazy person, which is why...
Yeah, which is really fun.
own you. Boom.
that's one of my favorite scenes of the entire series, probably. Where he kind of plays Doakes. What does he do? He makes Doakes looks really bad during the case, and then when Doakes comes into the office, he's like, "Oh, you're finally fighting back." And then what's he say is like, "I know how you feel, Sergeant, but just understand, no matter what you do, no matter how hard you try, no matter how hard or smart you are, I'm always going to be one step ahead of you for one simple reason. Why is that? I own you." And it's just like, I love that Dexter plays him like a fucking instrument in that scene. You know what I mean? And then I like that the second it's over, you could see Doakes been like, you fucking conniving motherfucker. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I really would have liked to see a scene where Dexter and Doakes, after he had Doakes trapped, where they had a conversation, and Dexter was like, you're right about the ice truck killer. He was my brother, right?
Yeah,
Or
that would have
something
been
like
cool.
that. Like literally, like have Dexter talk about the fact that the ice truck killer was his brother, and that the reason why he knew where the ice truck killer was going is because, they had very similar kill styles, and that it was all just a game to get to Dexter that the ice truck killer was playing. That would have really fucked with Doakes.
To
I
be
think.
fair,
But
that
Dexter
you're
is-
talking about a series that needs to pay attention to details. That's not the series.
to be fair,
No, it needs to. It just really doesn't.
To be fair,
Yeah.
Dexter is eternally in a hurry this season. Didn't really have time for a heart to heart with Doakes.
Yeah, he
Wait,
does,
he does
he
have
does
a
have
hard
a
to
hard
Yeah,
to
but
say.
it's hard to dunk
Multiple.
Doakes,
But he
but
doesn't have
they
time to
were
explain
good.
his entire.
No,
I like them
I
a
disagree.
lot. I like them.
I was
a
gonna
lot.
say I think
Yeah.
that like their conversations were some of my favorite moments in the show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just like them just talking to each other, and them finally like they're adversaries and everything, and they're both being totally honest with each other.
And
Well,
I
at least
love-
Dexter is.
I love when Doakes gets kidnapped by the drug dealers, and then they have to work together to
Yeah.
kill the drug dealers.
Suck my dick, motherfucker. You understand that shit?
Dude, I'm gonna miss.
Poor Doakes, man.
No, I really
Dude,
do.
yeah. Can we talk about this? I wish this plot line had happened in like season 4 or 5,
Yeah.
or because I just want more Doakes, and I
Yeah.
feel like if we got more of their dynamic for a couple more seasons, it would have hit a lot harder.
Hey, he comes back in season 7.
Surprise, motherfucker!
Robo Dope.
Robo
It's
Doakes,
not Robo Doakes.
give us Robo Doakes.
You guys
in
know
new
what happens
blood.
to Doakes in the books? Just out of curiosity.
Is it not Robo Dokes?
Well, I mean, but when they say Robo Doakes, though, it's just like he has like prosthetic limbs and like a voice box. He's not really a
So
problem.
he sounds like a robot.
Yeah, he's not really. Doakes isn't. It's the same thing. Doakes isn't really a problem post book 2. But just to tell you guys, because it's way more horrific in the books, Doakes gets his like legs and arms chopped off and his tongue cut out, and then Dexter's like, "Oh, I guess that problem solved itself."
I guess so, right? I mean,
My gosh.
can he still ride stuff around? Like, I don't know.
He could
No,
let's
Lindsay.
communicate by
With his
blinking
eyes.
Well,
in
he
Morse
gets,
code.
he gets like a voice box, and then like, but like I think I haven't read the later books, but from what I understand, it's pretty similar. Like Dexter's just painted him as like a madman, and no one believes him.
Mm.
It's
Yeah.
much more sad though, because he's just like zooming around the parking lot in his like wheelchair.
No,
And,
I
like,
totally get what you're saying though, Jason. Because like again, rewatching the first 2 seasons, it's like man, and you feel like there's a real lack of presence. Like there's like a power void left once Dokes is gone.
Yeah.
and they never really fill it in.
And
They
I-
almost feel like kindred
I feel like-
spirits, almost like
yeah,
I feel like he was just the best part of the show, and
He's one
he's
of the best
gone
parts,
after
for sure.
season 2. Like, I don't know. I feel like they fucked up there. Like, they had something great with those 2, and now one of them's gone.
yeah. I always felt that Dokes or another character, like I think probably like Angel or something, should have been the person who finally catches Dexter, like in the
Yeah.
end.
Yeah.
Well, I think definitely Angel, because throughout
Yeah,
season
but
1
Angel-
and season 2, they showed that, yeah, he's kind of like that happy-go-lucky guy, but when he actually like focuses in on something, he's probably the best detective on the force.
I would
Yeah.
say that.
No,
I
know.
disagree.
Yeah.
Especially the later
Okay.
seasons.
Yeah.
Wait,
The
wait,
later
wait.
I would
seasons.
say Deb is better.
No,
than
no,
Angel.
no.
That sucks.
Who picked up on the fingernails painted on that hooker's
Yeah.
Because he just,
on the
he just
hooker's
happened
hand?
to be
Yeah,
there
that's-
to come across the evidence.
No, but
It's the most obvious thing in the world to do.
I think-
Let's just say you'll change your mind after seeing season 3 and 4.
I'd say most of
Yeah.
every other cop is better than Batista.
I agree with Miles to a certain extent, specifically because Dexter feels that way about Angel. He has that line where he says,
I was gonna bring
I was
that
gonna
up.
like,
say-
if I were to be like anyone in the world, it would be like you, or
I think
something
it just
along
means
He
that
says,
like
no,
as a person,
character,
though.
He says-
yeah,
as a person,
as a
not
human.
Yeah.
not his detective ability.
No, what he's
He's too interested in putting his like penis in the next like potential like lover or wife. Dude,
Well,
it's just
no, that's
every
Masuka.
fucking
Yeah,
No,
can
but
we, talk,
Masuka
can we
is
talk
like
about that moment, by the way? Because I really like that. He says, if I could choose any real person to be like, it'd be like you. And then Batista's just like, I don't know what that means, but thank you. Like, just totally like, what the fuck? Yeah, and if
Yeah.
someone said that too, you would be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I like that little moment, though, because you can tell that even though Dexter, like, kind of uses Angel as, like, a human, like, pawn, he does kind of, like, admire him in his own way, in his own psychopathic way.
Yeah.
I wonder what would have happened hypothetically. Like Doak survived, but he doesn't rat out Dexter.
That would have been fun.
That would have been like I don't know if that would break the character. Something must have happened for him to see Dexter's point of view, or like maybe actually like see the.
It'd be like the end of
They could have
Spiral.
they could have done the drug dealer thing, where he takes in these drug dealers, or like have him basically locked up there with Dexter for a long time, and Dexter explaining to him why he's chopping up each of the bodies and gradually like breaking Doakes' mind until he gets like Stockholm syndrome.
I think the problem is that the Doakes character wouldn't. There's no way the Doakes character would back off. He's the way they write him, the way he is in character. He would never stop hunting Dexter.
That's why when I knew, or
Yeah.
that's why when he was put in the cage, I was like, okay, Doakes is dying. Like, there's no way. There's 8 seasons of this, and it's not going to be all Dexter in prison. So I just knew Doakes was going to die, and it made me really sad watching like the last 4 episodes or whatever it was.
Not gonna lie, especially based on what happens in the later seasons, like I totally would have been okay. Like if Doakes somehow survived. I'm saying, let's say that Lila didn't blow up the cabin and stuff, and Dexter actually did let him go, and then what's it called? And then the show ends in like season that season or season 3, which is about Dexter on the manhunt and running away or something like that.
It's all Deb's fault that Doakes is dead.
How?
Everything's Deb's fault.
No, I'm serious, because if you track down, Doakes had given up on the hunt for Dexter. He was like, "Oh yeah, he's just a drug addict.
Oh, right, I
that's his
remember.
only problem."
And then Dex,
until Deb's like, "Oh no, he's never done drugs
I
in
wouldn't
his
say
life."
it's Deb's fault. I'd say
it's Deb's fault.
It's
actually.
Deb's
yeah.
fault.
It's Deb's fault.
this whole fucking series is goddamn Harry's fault. If you want
Yeah.
to trace it back.
No, but
maybe
overall,
it's the drug dealer's fault.
Overall, Dexter did like I'm not saying it's very Machiavellian sense. I guess they save a lot of lives. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, in the first 4, and let's just say, but season 5 and on, oh my gosh, completely different character.
All right. Do you guys want to get into favorite episodes, or maybe just favorite moments of the season?
All the stuff with Dexter and Doakes is obviously really fucking good. I really like watching Dexter lose control, like especially the whole like it's over, Morgan. It's not over until I say it is, and he's like shaking the cage, and you can see Doakes being like, "Oh shit, I've never seen Dexter lose his cool."
Yeah.
But I'd say my favorite episode is actually probably I like the second to last episode a lot. Left Turn Ahead.
Yeah, I think for me it's like my top 3 are Dex, Lies, and Videotape, because one, I like the film and I like the homage to Sex, Lies, and Videotape. But when he that was a pretty interesting moment, and I saw Dexter being creative and trying to delete the footage of him cleaning his boat in the marina, and what's it called? And there's something about Harry. We learn a little bit more Harry. We get more conversations between Doakes. Pretty much just a lot of Doakes and Dexter interaction, and Left Turn Ahead. Yeah, the British Invasion. Yeah.
For me, by far, favorite episode is The Dark Defender. There's so much stuff that happens in that episode. That's, where Dexter first starts questioning, am I a hero? Am I a bad guy? What is the truth behind what I do?
Oh, speaking of which, we didn't even talk about Santos. We were talking about Dark Defender. We haven't talked about Santos.
Well, I was about to get into
that.
Santos.
Yeah.
And then when he goes to confront Santos, I think that cinematography-wise, that scene in the bar where they're closing up the bar and you've got the red coming in and it's following Dexter, and then you just have a bunch of different colors and lighting going
I think
on there.
Santos is blue.
That really work well in order to portray what's going on. And you actually see Dexter really break for the first time, where you see behind the mask, that even the one that he puts on for his victims, because he's still putting on a mask for his victims. And I think that mask is kind of what Harry thought of him. So when he's actually murdering people, he's like, this is the only time I can be honest with people, is right before I kill them. I don't think he's actually being honest with them. I think that he's just being the person that Harry thought he was at that point. And with Santos, he was able to go to an even deeper level of breaking and being extremely angry, and you see his true bloodlust there.
Yeah.
That's
When he beats the fucking shit out of him.
I'd say my favorite would be Morning Comes. That one was there's just so much shit that happened, like Dexter getting interrogated by Lundy,
Which is a
that
great
whole
scene.
power play between them. That was one of my favorite scenes.
Oh yeah, Yeah,
show.
speaking of Keith Carradine as Frank Lundy,
I
fantastic.
love,
Yeah, dude.
I love
Yeah.
Lundy.
Lundy
he's
was
great.
great. I just hated how he started dating Deb.
That's
seriously.
one of the only. I forgot to bring this up earlier when you're talking about it. That's one of the only. There's okay. Deb like basically dates someone every season, and out of 8 seasons, there's only 3 that I like. Lundy's one of them, and he might be my
dude,
second
I
favorite.
am not looking forward to watching Deb date 6 more people.
Oh my
Um,
god, oh guys, Antonio.
Season 3 is dumb. Season 3 has a dumb love. Season 3 is like a dumb like Deb plot in general. Season 3 is like the ultimate like the Dexter stuff's really good, but like everything else is like.
Season 3 is the worst Clyde Phillips Dexter run season.
I like season 3 though. It's just I think the
But compared to
subplot.
the 1, 2, and 4.
Well, let's
Yeah,
focus
no,
on season 2
3
for now.
felt kind of slow compared to these seasons.
Anyways, we'll get to
Yeah.
season 3 next week, but
And also like Keith Carradine. I think like just what's it called like he has a certain style of acting where it's like very succinct. Where his tone barely changes, but his facial expressions, like the micro expressions from like just little tilt of the eyebrow or little like tilt of the head, just completely communicates like what he commands and what
Everything,
he
yeah.
wants. Or if he suspects something.
Low-key, there was that one scene where they were interrogating who was that they were interrogating? It was somebody, and he's got just the animal crackers right there.
it's Dexter.
Yeah.
No, that wasn't
Oh.
Dexter.
No, and he's
Oh,
just eating animal crackers. And
Yeah,
he's
it's
like,
like,
is
is
this
this a
what
lion?
Like, a part of me just thought, did he just bring that box of animal crackers onto the set and just start improvising all that stuff about the animal crackers? Because you see
possible.
all the other actors looking at him like, what the fuck are you doing right there? And how much of that is real? And like, that's just what I like to imagine right there, is that he improved some of those lines about the animal
Yeah.
crackers.
I just love how everything is connected to food with him.
Yeah.
And I think that's
and 1 p.m. is break.
yeah.
Well, it's
Yeah.
1 p.m.
And
Well,
he says-
lunchtime.
yeah, the first his first like little monologue, his introduction, he's just like, I hope you like food analogies or something like
Because
that.
I like food.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not gonna lie, I totally buy that Deb would be into Lundy.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
I get
it's
it
the
the-
whole
too.
point
I
is
just
the daddy
hate it.
issues thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate it because it's just like
Takes so much time.
Yeah, and also why are you trying to fuck your dad, Deb? Like,
No,
I
but-
understand you're getting you want his approval, but it's like how much they draw parallels between him and her dad, and it's
It's
just
a little creepy.
it is creepy.
No, it's important for the season though, because I see why it's important to do it, because you've got Dexter and then you've got Deb both vying for their father's attention in her eyes.
Yeah.
And in the same way, she thinks that she's vying for her father's attention again in the form of Lundy
Yeah.
instead
And
of
she
Dexter.
fucks him.
But then when
She
she
call him
finds
daddy?
out that she probably does. But no, when she finds
Everybody
out
wants
that
to fuck their dad, right? Is that what you're trying to say?
Isn't that like a
Miles?
scientific
Is that what you're trying to say?
Does she call Lundy daddy? That's all.
You know,
Yeah.
Freudian up in
No,
here.
but no. I understand your perspective, and it does
Yeah.
add the element in psychology and the very Harry focus centric. So the dad figure coming in,
Mhm.
almost like.
Lundy looks like a bald eagle.
But then, I think like my only complaint is I might have been okay with it, but then the way they handled the end of that relationship with just him going off, and then the way that storyline is wrapped in season 4, it leaves it kind of fucks up how I see the Lundy and Deb relationship in season 2. Like I said, all of this could have been well paid off if by the end of the series it was well worth it. But as we can tell, nah.
You're making me real excited for the rest of this.
I would say for the favorite episodes though, like Dex lies and videotapes, and There's Something About Harry are probably like one of my top 2. I like the scene where Dexter's just trying to delete the footage. It's very tense. Like he's like, "Oh God, what if they saw me?" And then just trying to think of like how he would get out of that situation. I think he did it well. Doakes getting suspended, and sorry, no, that's the next episode. And then it just Lila and Dexter eventually just hooking up. It just like everything's falling apart for Harry. I mean, for Dexter, he's just trying to grab some control on something because everything's so just spinning out. And also, what's her face? Rita's mom. She's awful.
Oh,
Dude,
yeah.
She's so awful.
Rita's mom's like the most hated character in the show.
But she's like actually understands what's good. Like Rita's mom is legitimately a good person who just wants to take care
I
of
wouldn't
her
call her
No
a good
way.
person, though.
No,
Yeah.
she's controlling.
Yeah,
I mean, she's
and
controlling, but she does have
domineering.
good instincts.
okay,
She does have good instincts, so I agree with
the
Miles.
second she meets Dexter, she's like, something's wrong with him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and I mean, wouldn't you be controlling if your daughter had a penchant for dating drug addicts?
Yeah,
and,
honestly, yes.
Yeah.
I'm not
You
gonna
know,
lie. I
like-
totally understand from Gail's perspective. Like,
Yeah.
I would be the same way. I'm like, my daughter's a fuck up. Like this person, she has like 3 marriages.
Yeah.
Right. One as like a teen or whatever, and one with Paul, who's like a drug addict, abusive asshole, and number 3, who she doesn't know, but we know as audience as a serial killer. It's kind of
Yeah.
yeah.
But she knows, according to
she
her,
thinks-
that he's a drug addict as well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's like, I understand that too, but it's like, once you see and meet Dexter, you should be like, oh, hey, look, he's actually a nice guy. He very clearly cares and loves for these people. But I guess it's like, so
No,
did
but
Paul.
she's like Doakes, where she could like see through.
She is
Yeah.
she was a teacher. She's able to see kind of those little mental ticks of, she can tell that there's something dark underneath there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
she,
I do like the scene where she was like approval of the Bay Harbor Butcher.
yeah.
Yeah, it was ironic.
Yeah, and he's like, maybe I don't have to hate you after all.
And remember his thing was like, I just have to pretend they're aliens, and that's
Yeah.
what I like
Yeah.
and stuff. Yeah, that
And then
was-
there's in Something About Harry, when they reveal Harry's suicide, that's just, I think that's really great. It adds
Yeah.
so much more to his character and everything, and also you get to really see throughout the season how he just shaped Dexter into I don't remember which episode it is, but the one, no, it is that one where he talks about when
and there was a
he
serial
comes
killer that
over
got
and
away, right?
he got
Yeah.
away, he's all pissed off, and it's like the first time you see Harry not
Angry.
being in control, right? Yeah, he's angry and he's actually pissed off, and how he's kind of just made Dexter into his weapon of vengeance,
Mhm.
and how that eventually bites him in the ass. He's just like, once he actually sees
I've
the
created
monster.
a monster.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's like, oh
I-
fuck.
Man,
Which was one of the best uses of gore, I think, because although they could have probably cranked it up a little bit more.
They could have cranked every single one we talk about.
But it's like you see the guy's head there and the body parts, and he's just like freaked out. It's like it probably would have been more impactful if you really saw more of what he saw, because it's like at this
Yeah.
point we are mainly pretty much mostly shielded from Dexter's actions, to actually see them like in full force and to see why it's so fucked up and
Whatever.
disturbing. It is, we know it is, but like again, it's kind of like in the way that Harry saw it at first. Like I don't have to
we
look
would
at
see
it.
his POV and stuff like
Yeah.
that, and then we're forced to, like I said, yeah. I mean, it's because it's Showtime, so
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
One thing I forgot to mention about the Dark Defender episode, the end has one of the best, if not the best, Dexter monologue in the entire show. You know how Dexter does his monologuing stuff?
Yeah.
But the monologue at the end of that episode sets up literally everything that's coming for the rest of the season. It sets up, what everybody's motivation is, what Dexter plans to do, and how he's going to try to escape being caught as the Bay Harbor Butcher.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
personally, I just think it's one of the best. But
Let's go. Yes,
Um,
I wish I had the effusive love you have for that monologue, but when I watched, I was like, it was solid.
Can we talk about Dexter framing Doakes? Because in my opinion, I mean, we see Dexter do a lot of irredeemable shit throughout the series, but in my opinion, there's a big 3 that he does, and I think you guys might know what the other 2 are, without spoilers for people and Jason. This is a big one though. Okay, Lila kind of gives Dexter an out, but not really, because Dexter was going to do something terrible anyways, and I really fundamentally believe from the bottom of my heart, if shit had hit the fan, I do think Dexter would have killed Doakes. I really think that.
What do you guys think about that?
I don't think he was planning to kill Doakes. I think he was planning to let Doakes go.
Yeah,
I
he
think
was-
so, because that's like,
Because if he lets Doakes go, and then Doakes starts ranting, yeah, I saw him. He had me locked up in a cage. He was murdering all these people. It just makes him sound more crazy. And,
yeah.
it's like...
All right.
But also,
But also, I think
but
Dexter was
fundamental-
willing to give up that
yeah,
life.
Dexter. There's
Yeah.
like a whole half
Episode.
episode
Yeah.
devoted to Dexter saying, "Okay, I'm going to turn myself in. I'm going to do all this," and he was
It's
very
a
much
little-
at peace, and he felt good
But
about it.
ultimately, at the end there,
Yeah, because of fucking Deb.
Yeah, no.
Dexter, okay, because here's the thing.
Deb's
It's
like,
you
Deb
said.
convinces him, "Oh, you got to live your life." He's
When-
like, "Yeah, okay."
Here's something that
Fuck
you
Deb.
said though, and it's true. In the last like 3 episodes, are you guys rooting for Dexter or Doakes at this point?
Dokes.
Yeah, Doakes.
Yeah.
It's like you said, Dexter becomes the bad guy
Yeah.
in the last 3 episodes. And there is a small window where he's thinking about turning himself in, but I don't think he was going to. and just based on this character and where the character goes, he was going to frame Doakes, but also I think it's possible if it really come down to it, Dexter's first rule is don't get caught. I think he was going to kill Doakes. And I don't know. I count this as one of his cardinal sins. He didn't do the deed, but he might as well have. You know what I mean? Like, even if Doakes lived, Dexter ultimately...
Yeah, it was a cop-out the way Doakes died, I think.
But
was,
he did avenge Doakes.
Okay, let me finish my point, though. But ultimately, I see this as one of, like, three of the biggest sins Dexter commits in the show, is that he lets Doakes fall for his crimes, which I think is, you know, a really bad thing to do.
Yeah, but I get it. Honestly, he's dead. So
yeah,
the same thing. If
you
I was
don't
Dexter.
think this is a big like sin on Dexter's part?
No, it is, but I don't blame him. I totally go. Good for you, man.
I think I think once he was dead, I don't think anyone would be like, actually, it wasn't Doakes, it was me.
And then Doakes had like they purposely established that he doesn't have much personal connection to his family or other people. The only person is like LaGuardia
and his sisters, though.
Yeah.
I really like that scene too. By the way, I really like that scene at the end where Dexter goes to his funeral. I really like it. That little touch.
Because of that though. Okay, so I agree that Dexter would have killed him if it was season 5 and on Dexter, especially the way season 5 opens. But season 2 Dexter, no, I don't think so. I think he would.
I don't know.
One thing though is like the fact that like no one really showed up to his funeral. I don't know. I feel like there
would have been somebody.
Yeah, there are weird serial killer fanboys out there and fangirls that like obsess and not just are fascinated by serial killers, but actually like, you know, cheer them on and everything. So it's like I imagine that there would be some more crazy people
you even
there.
saw that throughout the entire season. You know, people were reading
like
the
newspaper
newspaper and being
much,
like, this guy is, you know.
There's always that debate, you know, like lock him up.
I'm surprised like the paparazzi.
Let him do what he's doing.
The paparazzi, or not paparazzi, but just like the Miami newspaper wasn't there to take photos of the funeral and who was there, and then ask them questions like, "What's it like to be friends of like one of the world's worst serial killers?" Stuff like that. Stuff like that was like it's a big, like I said, like it's like they haven't seen The Wire. You know what I mean? They know how actually stuff like this goes. I don't know, little details like that. Like I said, it's like I give it a pass because this series doesn't pay attention to details, so I'm like, what's it called? So it's like, but as long as the main stuff to work, I kind of let a lot of stuff fly, and then this show is definitely going on to more
I don't know, you guys. I just want a consensus that this is one of Dexter's biggest sins throughout the series. Because to me it is. I've always found this is one of the worst things Dexter does.
Well, I mean, rule number 1 is don't get caught.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, like he's just following the code of Harry.
This,
one
and
thing
also, we don't know what would have happened. We don't know if he would have killed him. We don't. And I don't think it's out of line for him to let Doakes
take the fall.
Yeah,
for that person.
I don't. Like, why would he come out and say, actually, it wasn't Doakes? That's dumb.
No, I know. I don't know.
And Doakes' legacy was already,
Tainted.
Ruined. He fucked, one of his colleagues' wife. You know, on top of that, he shot in the first season, he shoots
unarmed,
person,
not unarmed,
but basically before they shoot. And then the third one is he shoots his colleague. And I understand that, like, that's, he pulled the gun out, but yeah.
I mean, Doakes was also kind of a bad guy. He was very much like Dexter, where he also killed people.
Oh yeah, he had like the most officer related.
No, but he killed people to protect people. Even like when he was in special forces and stuff like that, they really hit on that a lot. Where it's like, Dexter and Doakes are kind of the same, but Doakes was doing good by killing people. And now Dexter feels like he is doing good by killing people. And so he takes on some of Doakes' legacy there, where it's like, yeah, he is like what I am, And I think that Dexter also respects Doakes more than any other officer.
Oh, absolutely.
Because he can see through Dexter. And I think he really respects that.
And that was the part where I was like, because, his special ops background, and, we kind of see his colleagues and his special training forces, like a lot of that I felt was like untapped potential for this character. And then he was killed off season 2.
Also, how do you guys feel?
They should have done this later, man.
How do you guys feel like when Doakes is later in Dexter's custody and stuff, and he starts like kind of sympathizing with Dexter? Do you think he was being genuine, or do you think he was just trying to play?
I think it's a little bit of both.
Yeah. I think both. But
I think if Doakes got out of that cage, he would have beat the shit out of Dexter. But I also think he started to gain an understanding.
Yeah, like they are. I really do think like kindred spirits in a weird way. They're like forever entwined. But unless you get blown up by Lila. But yeah,
I love the look on Doakes' face as he's like, "Just let me out, lady," and she's like, "He's the Bay Harbor Butcher, Dexter Morgan, blah blah," and then she's like, "Oh, you poor soul, so alone." And then he's like, "Yeah, it's cool." He's like, "Oh, I'm talking about Dexter," and he's just like,
God
Yeah,
damn it.
you see his face. His face is just like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
they say throw rocks at your characters, right? They throw everything at
Yeah,
Doakes.
I don't know. I
and
guess
the thing is, if he just turned off the knob before he opened the door, then he would have survived. That sucks.
I don't know. Ultimately, it's just I think Doakes is one of the characters I feel bad for in this series. There's quite a few characters that I think you feel bad for. Dexter essentially destroys everything around him. But I don't know. I feel bad for Doakes. He was trying to do the right thing, maybe for the wrong reasons, but I mean, shit, man, not only does he die, but he goes down as like the most notorious serial killer in Miami. It's just, I don't know, it's shitty for him.
It sucks. It sucks. It's tragic.
And then Vince Masuka said he was alive when he was burned.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was just tragic.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he died a few moments afterwards, because like I think just the sound, like the pressure wave alone, would probably just like
Well, and I mean, like half of his body got like blown off.
Yeah. And then, did you guys think the Lila's death was satisfying? That whole
no.
I like it.
It felt so rushed. I feel like they should have saved that for like the first episode of season 3. I think that would have been cool. Like hunting her down.
I would have liked if Dexter actually burned her alive.
Honestly, yes.
It would have worked better.
I actually think I agree with Miles and that at least is like poetic justice, and this is the first time it was a true revenge because like Doakes, like in Dexter's perspective, became another person who finally understood. And that's what he said. So yeah, honestly, yeah, I agree. Like, but then the thing is, it's Showtime, so
yeah,
I mean, they're budget constraints.
So I do
there
like
was that dichotomy there between Lila and Dexter the whole time, where they were both destructive evil forces.
Yeah.
But he was very clean, very meticulous, very poignant, and she was just like burnt everything, chaos around her.
I will say
she also framed Angel Batista for rape, right?
Yeah. She's one of my favorite characters. I think she was
a real good
perfect
person
for season 2. I think just like how the Ice Truck Killer really forced Dexter to look inward, so did she. I like probably my favorite line from her. I don't remember which episode it is, but she tells him like, you don't have to be a monster. You don't have to do these things. These are all your choices. You can't control what happened to you, but you can control what you do about it now. You're just using that as an excuse to just like fulfill your to like keep doing your addiction, keep following this stuff. And I felt like that was like the first time Dexter had to actually come to terms a little bit more with what he's doing, really, not just in the philosophical sense, but just like a personal thing where he's always, because he does often use like, I'm a monster, I can't help it, I just do this stuff, like it's just what I'm destined to do. And she's like, no, you don't. You're making these choices, you're deciding to do this shit ultimately. But and on the end I feel like it should have weighed a little bit more, especially at the end when he kind of decides to turn himself in and then he changes his mind. But like that should have been weighing on him, I think, much more, where it's just like, this is you ultimately, this is what you decide to do.
But how could he not see how much Lila was manipulating him? Like right from
well,
day
that's
one.
what happens when you're manipulated.
She gets him at the right. She does get him at the right moment.
And I feel like again, those kinds of lines and other stuff, she does really see through him more than anybody else, and she accepts it and she uses it against him. So I think I totally understand why he gets.
I don't
played,
think she accepts it. I think she actually craves it. Like he's
that's
even
part
talking
of,
to her.
You have to
towards
accept
the
it
end.
to crave it.
But it's like she sees this thing in him, and she feels like, "Ooh, I want that." That's like, it's very covetous the way that she acts towards him.
Yeah, she's a psycho.
Yeah,
she's like possessive.
Yeah, she's a good character. I definitely like her and like kind of the slow progression throughout the season where you first meet her. It's like, well,
like she has a point. Yeah,
and then she goes fucking insane.
Yeah. Another thing that happens in Morning Comes is like that's when you truly start to realize, oh fuck, this girl's crazy.
When she burns. She burns the.
She's just
right?
quirky.
Well,
That's
first she breaks into Rita's house.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like because she shows up to Dexter's work And Deb's like, bitch, she's not here, or he's not here. He lied to you. And then she freaks out, goes and breaks into Rita's house, and it's just like, oh, this is what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
She's a crazy person.
Don't date Dexter. He goes out all night and you'll never know what he's doing.
Exactly. Well, now, what's it called? Oh, never mind, I was going to say something. What is that? Yeah. Oh, by the way, what is your most satisfying kill from Dexter? For me, and I don't know why, but it was just like, yeah, I'm glad he died, was Roger Hicks, the used car salesman.
I love
He's
I love that that episode. Now I don't love Roger Hicks, but I kind of like the theme of that episode, like where like especially that scene where like Dex is leaving the police station and Doakes is kind of trying to use Roger Hicks's like lying style against Doakes, and Doakes just keeps like winning. And then like later on in the episode, Dexter kind of is using that thing reversed on Roger Hicks. Roger Hicks is like, oh, I'll give you a car, you know, like, oh, you don't have authority to do that. I'm the manager, or I'm the owner. No, you're not. The owner is this person. Well, I'm the manager. No, you're not. Well, I've been here longer. You've been here for 3 months. And then like and Dexter's like, okay, fuck, like stop lying. Like, I'm gonna kill you. There's nothing you could do. Sorry, I kind of derailed there. My most satisfying kill of the season though is actually the vigilante guy. I really like that line where he's like, and then when we're in this moment, I don't need to kill you. Well, I knew you weren't going to kill you. No, I'm going to kill you. I have to. I just don't need to.
Yeah. I think that really shows the best character shift too in Dexter, where he's going from this internal like drive, like this craving hunger to kill people, to basically just doing it because he enjoys it.
Yeah. I'd say definitely between Roger Hicks and the vigilante guy. Just because, I like the moment where he just keeps lying, and he's like, stop lying.
One thing I like that they really ramped up this season was how Dexter talks to his victims.
Yeah.
They did it a little bit in season 1, but they do it like for almost every kill now, where he's just like, you know, explaining himself, and they're having like a dialogue between, and that's some of my favorite stuff, because Dexter is able to just be Dexter and not have to like put the face on, you know.
Yeah. And when he laughs, it's like creepy and weird.
Yeah.
He's like, you're so good at lying. He's like, it just all comes out all at once.
I love kooky Dexter when he's like killing people, and it's just his weird self that he never is. Like this is in season 4, but nobody's getting raped. What's with you and rape? Like when Dexter gets all like
the police officer lady.
I love it when Dexter's just like a wacky fucking weirdo when he's killing people.
Oh, another thing to mention from the vigilante episode is the scene with Lundy and Dexter in the train car.
Right.
Where Dexter's like, you know, going through photographing everything, and they're talking about the Bay Harbor Butcher and like what his weapons of choice are. And Dexter's like, well, he's not that obvious, is he? And Lundy's like, well, he uses plastic wrap and duct tape. And Dexter's like, how can you tell that?
Yeah,
you know?
Which felt kind of dumb, because it's like
Dexter on
he should know.
Yeah.
He should know that they would know that.
It's like, sometimes I feel like Dexter really thought up until this point that he was a lot smarter than he was, and he's realizing all the mistakes that he actually has been making because he's become too complacent.
Yeah, also using the rocks from his own marina. I was like, that feels like a rookie move,
mistake.
man.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
and then not looking for a camera when you go to wipe down your boat, when you know that they're looking into that marina.
It's just called inconsistent character writing.
Yeah,
I mean,
I can excuse some of it in this. I can excuse the boat thing. I think it is just like I said, a lot of the mistakes Dexter makes in this series or in this season feel justified. Like he's going through a lot. It really is like Spider-Man 2. Like
except the mask. He should wear a mask. He
I
should
don't
wear a
know.
fucking
The mask
mask.
thing has never bothered me.
Yeah, the mask thing feels a little weird, because usually he's like very efficient, right? In the way they like everyone that he's like, you know, attempted to kill has died, right? So it's like I think it's.
But he does things like, just like, remember in season 1, where there was a little hole where the kid, if he wore a mask, he wouldn't have stressed out. And let's just say, in the future seasons, it becomes a more and more apparent problem, and I really have to suspend my disbelief. Like, wow, he didn't get caught yet?
Hey, the kid thought he was Jesus. It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also, like, he seems to just pick and choose when he wants to wear gloves. Like, it really bothers me. Like, he's doing things, I'm like, your prints are there, your prints are there, your prints are there, your prints are there. And, like, for someone who is supposed to be so meticulous and so like infallible, like it just, why are you doing
It's
this?
because the series doesn't pay attention to details. Yeah. What's it called? Okay, so let's wrap this up. Let's give overall ratings. And then also, actually, one last thing. There's a theory on Reddit that people say that Lundy actually knows that Dexter is the Bay Harbor Butcher.
I don't care about
by
any
the-
theory on Reddit.
by the like time, or by the end of season 2 or season 4, but at this point he kind of just lets it slide. What do you, because of Deborah?
No,
What do you guys think about that?
I don't
I think
think
it's
so.
bullshit theory.
No.
I think, well, doesn't Lundy, I think it's confirmed later on that Lundy had
Has
his
suspicion.
doubts. He never, I don't think he ever was like specifically suspicious of Dexter, although he could have been. But there is, I think later on,
Well, he
like,
does say his doubts on Doakes.
he does
Yeah.
like say like, we might have gotten the wrong guy. So
Well-
I don't know. There's like the long form theory that Captain Matthews knows. That's like the big one.
Yeah.
A lot of people thought that Dexter was going to end with Captain Matthews like killing Dexter and like training a new like Bay Harbor Butcher essentially.
Honestly, though, I really think that Captain Matthews might have known, because with all the stuff with him and Harry, he might have known and he might have understood, and the only reason he doesn't do anything about Dexter is because of his promise to Harry.
Did Lundy know Harry? Did they
No, I'm
establish
talking
No,
about
no,
Captain
no, Harry.
Matthews.
Yeah, Matthews.
Oh, Matthews.
Yeah.
because I was saying that's another theory is that Captain Matthews like knows too.
Yeah.
To answer your
maybe.
question, I think Lundy's not convinced that Doakes is the thing, but I think he's not too concerned.
I think
with it.
like outside of the podcast, we mentioned that this season has some similarities to the anime Death Note.
Yeah. Oh,
Which
yeah,
I mean, not to
yeah.
get too into it, but just using how L like rates his suspicions, I'd say that like Lundy probably suspects Dexter at like 30% maybe. He's
Yeah.
like, you know, there's opportunity, there's definitely like, you know, something there, but like maybe not. And
And
Doakes
also-
probably like 70-80%, like, yeah, like all the evidence is there, everything
Well-
makes sense, but he has that extra like you know, sixth sense that just tells him that
Well,
something
also-
He never
doesn't add up.
says that never actually says that he believes that Doakes is the Bay Harbor Butcher.
Yeah.
He only ever says all the evidence points to him.
Yeah.
So spoilers, Lundy's in season 4. Lundy does kind of have a line in season 4 that's a little suspect.
remember that, yeah.
Like he's retired in season 4, but he does kind of have this line where he's kind of talking to Dexter and he kind of makes a comment, and even Dexter's kind of like, I don't know, why are you here, Lundy? Like I need you gone. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. So it's possible.
All
I
right.
think even if that was the case, he's involved with Deborah.
Yeah, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Yeah.
All right. So ratings. Start with Ron. What's your rating?
I'd definitely put this one on the shelf. It's better than season 1, I think, overall. I think season 1 does have the overarching villain that just, like, you know, wins because the ice truck killer. But season 2, I think, dives way more into Dexter's, like, mentality, and his whole philosophy is shattered. I like that he's kind of on his back foot the entire season, and we see, like, you know, everything crumbling around him. I think done really well. It probably could have put off Doakes's, you know, like story maybe a little later, but I think it was a good overall, really good season.
All right, Jason.
Yeah, I would also put it on the shelf. This was a much more stressful season, and I like that. I like when things get ramped up and like the characters just like on the run, I guess, the whole season. Yeah, I would definitely put it on the shelf. I think it is better than season 1. No, on the shelf.
Points for Jonathan Banks.
Miles. Oh yeah, Jonathan Banks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
for
an
5
asshole.
seconds.
I
Real quick, sorry. Jonathan Banks was in the first episode of The Expanse, and I was like, oh, he's going to have a big part on the show. And he was in it for 4 minutes. And then he has like a mental breakdown, and then he like gets dragged off on a stretcher.
Oh fuck. That's it.
That's
I'll
it.
never watch Expanse now. Now that you told me that. Fuck.
Yeah, I thought that this was a very strong season of Dexter. There definitely was a lot at stake emotionally, unlike there was in the first season. In the first season, it didn't seem like there was really, for most of it, anything personally at stake for Dexter or for Deb. And it just seems like that evolved because Dexter, even though nobody really knew it, was front and center this entire season. Well, the audience knew it, but, you know, all the police were looking for Dexter, but they didn't know it. And it really brought everything closer to home. Yeah. So I would say put it on the shelf as well.
Hey, Blake.
Once again, this is my.
I can't believe you.
I can't believe you've done this. Once again, right place, right time. Saw this when I was young. Fucking love Dexter. Dexter's one of my favorite TV shows. Regretfully,
Don't give us your excuses.
so. And I just think this is like a top tier Dexter season. It's one of my favorite seasons of Dexter. And like what Jason said, one of my favorite things, I like Dexter seasons that don't have a huge villain.
Yeah.
I like it when, and especially I like it when Dexter's the villain. In the last like 4 episodes, Dexter really does feel like he's the villain.
Absolutely.
So for all those reasons above, I have to put this one in the museum. Sorry.
All right, that's
Museum. We got a museum, baby. Oh, museum.
No clapping.
Okay. That's it called. For me, I agree with every guys. This is the strongest season of Dexter the series. But it'd be streaming. But premium tier. Yeah.
So you would pay to stream it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
love their season 4 for some reason. I don't like it as much as this season.
We'll
I
get to it
agree
when we
with you.
get to it.
I'll just give a heads up, a little spoiler for my future ratings. This is the highest rating I'll ever give a Dexter season.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair
You
enough.
really don't like Dexter.
That's the call. Let's just say, unlike Blake, I watched it at the wrong place at the wrong time. I watched it before. By the time I already watched it, I already watched so much other shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the call.
All
Okay.
All right, thanks guys for
Next week we'll
listening
be
in.
talking. Next week we're talking about season 6. Just kidding. Obviously, we'll talk about season 3.
Yeah, what'd you think
Can we
about
just skip
season
season
2
3?
of Dexter?
Season,
What'd you think of all the
I'm
characters?
excited to talk about season 3.
I am for certain reasons. Like I have a lot to talk about for some.
You gonna let me watch this one alone?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, watch it with me, Jason. Don't watch
Okay.
it with Blake.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're out.
Yeah.
All right, guys, like, comment, subscribe. We really appreciate all of the times anyone comments, and every like and subscribe really helps us get closer to our goal.
Half clue. We are a TV review
All
show.
right, cut it off.
Starting off small.
Next week we see Jimmy
We're
Schmidt.
a
off.
TV
Shut it
100
down. Shut it down.
subscribers.
Half
Shut it
clue
down.
bowl. No, so.